In this lesson, we will practice graphing parabolas whose vertices are not right at the origin. Now, we know that the original parabola that we learned about in middle school or freshman year was y equals x squared. All right, so that was your nice normal parabola that looked like this. Okay, this was the first parabola you ever learned. So that was y equals x squared. That means if you see x squared, that's a normal parabola, all right, upward facing. We learned that if it had a negative in front of it, like negative x squared, then that had the effect of turning it upside down. Okay, but either way, if you see x squared, you know it's either up or down, depending on if it's positive or negative. On the other hand, if you see something strange that you haven't seen before, if you see y squared instead of x, that's new. That means it must be a weird sideways parabola like this. If it's positive, or if it's negative, that would mean it's sideways to the left. Okay? But either way, if you see good old x squared, that means it's either up or down. But if you see this strange new y squared, that means it's going to be sideways. Okay? So look at problem number 1. Okay? So the first thing you have to decide is whether or not it's up, down, left, or right. What do you think? All right, I'm hoping that you said down. This one is going to be down. And let's go ahead and write that down. This one's going to be down. And the reason why is because right here, all right, just ignore the minus 2 for a second. What I have here is x squared. All right? So that's normal x squared. So I knew it would either be up or down. And because of this negative 12, that means it's going to be down. All right, so fine, I know it's going to be down. Now, the other thing you need to be aware of is the standard formula, the model for these parabolas. And the model works like this. We will have x minus h squared is equal to 4p times y minus k. All right, and in a situation like this, the vertex will be h comma k. So it'll just sort of be the opposite of these two numbers. So we figured out that it's down. So our next move is to find out what's the vertex. So I'm basically saying to you the vertex is going to be the opposite of the x number and the y number. So this will be 2 comma negative 1. So the vertex, might as well write it down, the vertex will be 2 comma negative 1. And we also might as well graph it. So we have 2 comma negative 1 is right here. That will be our vertex. And we know that it will be facing down. Now, the next step is to find this p value that's mentioned in the function here. Now, we know that 4p, maybe I can do this off to the left here. We know that 4p is going to equal the negative 12, right? So if I divide by 4, that gives me p is equal to negative 3. That tells me where to put the focus. So if this is the vertex, and I know I need to go down, well, now I know to go down 3 from here, not from the x-axis, from the vertex. So if I go down 3, that means my focus is right here. So we might as well record that too. That's 2 comma negative 4 is our focus. 2 comma negative 4. Now, the directrix is a line that's going to be on the opposite side of the vertex. So if I go 3 down, that's the focus. So if I go 3 up, that will be my directrix. So 3 up from here, so that'll be right here at 2. So this will be my directrix. Okay, so I've got my focus and my directrix. So I just need 2 more points to finish this graph off. So let's get them. Oh, by the way, the directrix, see, horizontal lines always have little equations, y equals a number. And it's at 2, so the directrix is y equals 2. Now the focal width. The focal width comes from this number, the 4p number, the number in front of the unsquared part. You do not include the negative sign, so widths can't be negative. So the focal width is 12. The focal width means the width of the parabola at the focus. So if this is the focus, and it's got to have a total width of 12. That means it's got to be 6 to the left and 6 to the right from here. Okay, so 6 to the right will be over here at 8, and 6 to the left will be over here at -4. So that gives me 3 points to graph, with which to graph my parabola. So I can go ahead and draw the parabola now pretty well, and it's going to look like this. Okay, so there is number 1. All right, the more I do, the faster I'm going to go. So try to keep up. So on problem number 2, first of all, is this up, down, left, or right? This one is to the right. Okay, I'm noticing that y is squared. Y squared. That's unusual. The first one we learned about was y equals x squared. So x squared is normal, up and down. Y squared is sideways. So I knew it was either going to be left or right. Because it's positive, it's to the right. Okay, now the vertex. So look, you can sort of look at this as x minus 0 or x plus 0. It doesn't really matter. So when we do the vertex, just be very careful. The x-coordinate of the vertex has to come from the x. It doesn't matter that this is on the left. All right, so this 0 is the x-coordinate of my vertex. And remember, we're doing opposites, so the y-coordinate will be -1 from this. Okay, so there's my vertex. And I'm going to graph it. So 0, -1 will be right here. So vertex. Next, I need the p-value. Okay, so my p-value, this is going to the right. So, well, I know that 4p is equal to 8. So that means p, if I divide, p is equal to 2. That tells me where to put the focus. All right, remember, I'm going to the right. So now I know I'm going to go to the right 2, starting from the vertex. So to the right 2 puts me here. So that's my focus. If I go to the other side, that tells me my directrix. So the directrix must be 2 to the left over here. Okay, so here's my directrix. All right, now I need my other 2 points to complete this graph. I guess I should write some of this stuff down. So my focus was the point 2, -1. My directrix, vertical line is always x equals a number. So that's x equals -2. All right, now the focal width. The focal width is this number, the 8. Okay, so that means I'm going to have to go at the focus. I need a total width of 8, so that means 4 up and 4 down from here. So 4 up will be here, and 4 down will be here. All right, so that gives me all the information I need to go ahead and draw my parabola. All right, so there's number 2 in all of its glory. All right, number 3. Okay, is this one going to be up, down, left, or right? This one is going to be up. All right, I see it's x squared. All right, it's like y equals x squared. That's normal. All right, and it's positive. Notice this -1 over here has nothing to do with whether it's up or down. It's just the 4. And that's positive, so it's going to be up. Okay, now the vertex. All right, it's the opposite of this one and then the opposite of that one. So the vertex is going to be -1, comma 1. All right, now I need the focus. So I need the p-value. So look, 4p is equal to 4. So that means p is equal to 1 if I divide. So that 1 tells me where to put the focus. I forgot to graph the vertex first. Okay. So my vertex is at -1, comma 1. So -1, comma 1, there's my vertex. All right, now my focus is going to be 1 up. All right, that's why I always write this word down to remind me. My focus will be 1 up from here. All right, I almost feel like I better zoom in because this is going to be a tiny graph. Okay, so my focus is 1 up. That means my directrix will be 1 down, which will actually put it on the x-axis. All right, so I've got my focus and my directrix. Now I need my 2 other points. At the focus, I can use the focal width. The focal width is 4, so that means I'll have to go 2 to the right and 2 to the left. All right, and you see that gives me a total focal width of 4. And then that's the information I need to go ahead and draw this thing. Okay, pretty good. Let's see, so the directrix is actually y equals 0. The focus is -1, comma 2. And the focal width, I believe, was 4. Yep. All right, so that was it for number 3. Look at number 4. Well, I see it's y squared. All right, that's unusual. We're used to y equals x squared. So if the y is squared, I know it's the sideways one. So it's either left or right. And I see that the 16 is negative, so that makes it left. Okay, all right, x squared is normal. Y squared is weird. So this is left. Now, the vertex. So I'll leave it like this. The vertex, now make sure you put this in the correct order. Even though the y is over here on the left, the x coordinate still comes from the x. So it's going to be -2, comma 5. Not the other way around. -2, comma 5 for my vertex. All right, and let's go ahead and plot that. It was opposite of this and opposite of that. So -2, comma 5 is right here. All right, next I need that p-value. Well, guys, I knew that 4p is equal to this -16. So if I divide by 4, that gives me p is equal to -4. That tells me where to put the focus. Now, remember I said left. So this tells me to go 4 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is my focus, which is at -6, comma 5. Okay, as soon as you do your focus, you go in the opposite direction and do your directrix. So the directrix is going to be right here. Okay, now I just need my other 2 points to make this graph. Oh, by the way, so the directrix, that was at x equals 3, as you can see. Now, the focal width is 16, so I might as well write that down. If the focal width is 16, so that's the width at the focus, for a total of 16, I need to go 8 up and 8 down. So that's going to take me off the grid. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Be right about there. So that's 7. So okay, I had to go off the grid for this one. That's all right. We've got to be flexible sometimes. Okay, so there's number 4. All right, number 5. This one looks a little short, but we'll worry about that later. First of all, is this up, down, left, or right? Hopefully you see that this one is to the right. Okay, the y is squared. That's the opposite of what we're used to. So that means it's one of the ones that's sideways. And since it's positive, it will be to the right. Now we need that vertex. See how there's nothing being added or subtracted? That means this must be like x plus 0. And same with the y. This must be like y plus 0 squared. Okay? So if you just see a y squared or an x, those are zeros in terms of the vertex. So this one is at the origin. It's just 0, 0. Okay? So fine, there's our vertex at 0, 0. Now we need our p value, which I'll just do right here. So we know that 4p is equal to 10. So if I divide both sides by 4, I'm going to get, let's see, 10 divided by 4, that's 2.5. Okay, so 2.5. Now that tells me where to put the focus. Now we know it's going to be to the right, so we will go 2.5 to the right of the vertex. So the focus will be there. That means the focus is 2.5, 0. Okay, now the directrix should be in the opposite direction. So it should be 2.5 to the left. All right, so there's my directrix. And that is vertical, so I've got x equals negative 2.5. All right, now I just need my other 2 points. And for that, we'll use the focal width of 10. So my focal width is 10. So that means at the focus, the width is 10. So that means 5 up and 5 down. All right, so if I go 5 up and 5 down, then these are the points that I need. Okay, so there you go. That's number 5. Okay, number 6. Is this up, down, left, or right? Well, I see x squared, all right, so that reminds me of good old y equals x squared. So I know it's either up or down. Because of the negative on the 4, I know it's going to be down. All right, notice this minus 1 has nothing to do with it. It's all about the 4 being negative. So I know it's down. Now I need the vertex. Opposite of this, opposite of that. So -3, comma, +1. Alright, so there's my vertex is at -3, 1. Now I need that p-value to get the focus. So I know that 4p is going to equal -4. That means p is -1. So that means I'm gonna go 1 down, like we said. Okay, so that puts my focus there. That means my focus is -3, 0. Alright, the directrix should be the same distance in the other direction. So my directrix will be right here. So by the way, that's y equals 2. Okay, now for my last couple of points, I need the focal width. The focal width is 4. Do not include the negative sign. So the focal width is 4. So if I want a focal width of 4, that means I need to go 2 to the left and to the right. Alright, so that allows me to draw the parabola. Okay, so that's number 6. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this video. Go ahead and click here in the red apple to watch the next video. Click in the green apple to subscribe, or click the yellow apple for the full playlist.